Hello and welcome to this special panel from the Bengaluru Tech Summit. I have with me some loaded VCs who are looking at investments in the deep tech space, and I'll try to quiz them about the trends, what's to come, and the road ahead. Idea Spring Capital, Naganand is here with me. Venk Krishnan of New Ventures is here with me. The key questions that I'm trying to focus on, and I'll start with you, Nag, is about the sudden explosion of these quick commerce startups, right? Uh, India seems to be seeing a huge explosion of those. Where is the road ahead? I mean, do you see a consolidation coming out in the next corner? How do you see this kind of an explosion?
See, I think there was a lot of articles in the papers as well on this. I think the quick commerce is the first one where it was built for the Indian market, right? And all the others, delivery, Swiggy, it all existed in the US. But quick commerce is something that's very unique to the Indian market because of the density of the people and what you can deliver in within 10 minutes, because you can build a lot of dark stores that is very localized, and then you can deliver value to your customers. So it's one of those that was indigenously built for India. I think in terms of consolidation, I think you will see consolidation because it costs money. Anything that costs a lot of investment, you cannot have too many players out in the market because now you have the Swiggy and the Zomato and now Zepto, as you know, they're raising another 300 mil as we speak. And I read that Amitabh Bachchan is becoming a brand ambassador as of today, right, in the paper. So I think initially I was very skeptical about quick commerce. I said, who would want to buy? But my daughter never goes out anymore to buy anything. Everything is ordered online in 10 minutes. So I think it's here to stay for at least for the next generation of people. Consolidation will happen. I think there'll be 4 or 5 large players because it's an expensive play because a lot of capital is required to support.
And it's also one play where you are sort of in this perpetual loss-making model till you start turning around and start making profits, right? So how long can one sustain? That's a key question.
Yeah, so if you look at many others who have been in the business, they're so slowly turning profitable because as you see, it's behavioral change. So you have to get people used to ordering stuff and then you start charging and you start increasing the charges gradually because you cannot give any sticker shot to anybody. And that you see happening now. I don't have an exact timeline as to when these guys can get profitable, but people believe that this is an industry that you can be in and there's a consolidation. There are 4 or 5 players that will win in the market because the India market is huge. I think people will invest to bear the losses for some period of time with the hope that you can win. And you can take the examples of both Zomato and Swiggy, which went public, and the same question was asked about those guys, including Ola. When will you make money? What will happen? But there are enough examples to prove the skeptics wrong. I was a skeptic as well as to when, because I believe in profitability, but this is a very different game, and people have to get adjusted to this game, and there are investors who get adjusted to this game.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just the question of staying long enough to get that light. So another important point that you bring about is VC versus IPO. Bringing in terms of capital and funds, right? How do you see that playing out for the Indian startup, small business ecosystem in terms of raising capital? Is the VC capital the only way out, or should IPOs, which bring in with it larger scrutiny, much more public knowledge of a company, the road ahead?
I think if you see even I think somebody else alluded to this. There's a lot of IPOs coming, right? In the next, I think 2-3 years, I would say there are about 10 IPOs which are planned, right? Big, Blackbuck, is another company. So there are a lot of them coming out. So I think initially there was skepticism on that, right? Will there be an IPO, right? But today, if you see, a lot of startups which were funded about 4-5 years back, right? Swiggy was, I think, started 2015, right? Today they are one of the biggest IPOs, right? So I think that is an exit possibility, but every company has to go through the process, right? Get funded, go through the different phases of funding, Series A, Series B, get to some level of predictability in revenue, right? Which is what the public markets are looking, right? So I think there is going to be an exit possibility from there, and a lot more investment will come into that space because investors are seeing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Right? So I think that is a very positive sign for India.
So what you're saying is start with VC money, but repay my money with the IPO
Absolutely,
money.
Absolutely. That's the way to go, right? If you can, right? But there are some who haven't gone that route, who have said, I won't take the money, I will do it my way, right? So Zerodha is a good example, Zoho is a good example. They have been successful too. They are not liable to anything, they can do what they want, right? So I think there is a good story happening here with the IPOs.
Right. We seem to have turned the corner in terms of funds as well. are the lessons that needed to have been learnt at that time? Have we learnt those lessons? And I just want a quick thought from you guys. Or are we back to saying that the purse strings are loose and now just going back into just pumping money?
So I have seen 5 different cycles in my journey. So my take on the matter is human beings reset the memory every 7 years. So whatever is there will be fresh for another 2-3 years, and then the same madness will come again. So I don't believe this will ever go away. I think there will be cycles, and then new people come in, they forget what has happened before. And the longer you say, the more cynical you become. But people entering will always take aggressive decisions. So.
Yeah, but in the deep tech space, that's also a space which is, would I, if I can put it in a way, in a subtle way, a larger risk appetite is needed in that space in terms of what the next curb in technology is, right?
So deep tech actually, so if the science is proven, deep tech, obviously there's an engineering and science behind it. If that is proven, then the amount of capital that you have to invest is a lot lesser than what you would do in a quick commerce. Okay, number one. But the issue with deep tech is the getting the market traction and the ability to scale. That's a longer haul. That is number one. And number two, for most of our startups that are developing the product from India, the market in India is just starting, right? The key buyer being the defense. So the defense sector now trying to buy from the startups is the key enabler. That needs to happen. And our thesis also is say like till India gets to like $8 to $10 trillion economy, the market for deep tech itself will be limited. So hence you invariably you have to take your product and go global. And then selling a deep tech product in the global arena is going to be hard game, right? If you have a defense as a sector who has proven that your deep tech product can survive, then you can sell it easier outside. So I think we all talk about deep tech and we are one of those investors, but we know what's coming and we know the path is not very easy. It's something we all are here to conquer, but it's going to be an arduous journey because selling deep tech products outside, whatever you're selling to defense or private sector, it's not going to be that easy as opposed to compare and contrast with the SaaS product. You sit here, you deploy on Amazon, everything works. Deep tech, you're not going to sit here and deploy on Amazon. You're actually going some places like, 2 of my portfolio companies are developing drones or aircrafts. You're not going to sell that easily. It's a hard game to sell. So I think selling will become a lot harder in deep tech, because many times it is not just software play, it is a biotech play, it is a quantum play, it's a, it's a hardware play. So it's like very challenging times, very exciting times though. There's a time to be in this play.
Yeah, fascinating points that you're making. You want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I think, if you look at data, I'm a big believer in that. There is the global VC market or the VC funds is about 300 billion, right? And India has just got about 7 billion out of that, even though we call ourselves the 3rd largest ecosystem, right? So there's a lot of dry powder out there, right? People are going to take risks, right? And things like space tech, these are areas which are high risk, like what Naganand alluded to. There is a lot of risk, but I think there is a lot of people who want to take that bet because especially when India is trying to grow at this pace and there's a lot of innovation which is happening and there's a lot of support from the government for innovation. So I think if you ask me, I think it's going to be more and more investment in space tech and those kind of stuff because even our Indian Space Research Organization, they're spending a lot of money, defense, right? So I think those are needed. And I agree with Naga that it's very difficult to sell this in developed countries, right? Maybe we can sell it to countries like us, more and more. But my perception is there's so much money to come to India today because so much capital is available.
So how are you seeing at the India market bet?
See, if you ask me, the consumer brands which are there, India, we have done very well. In fact, we have done better than the advanced US markets, right? In terms of the direct-to-consumer models and the brand building and all that. I think India, if you ask me, has a unique opportunity today in manufacturing, right? That is where AI, I think, will play a big role. Again, I may be wrong, but I feel manufacturing is one area where I think many theses are showing that manufacturing is an area where India can outshine the global markets, especially with the AI kind of thing. Because, I have seen in India, AI is the buzzword today in India, right?
Across the world, right? Not just in
but India more because when anybody comes to do a pitch, they are pushing in AI without even realizing that is AI very apt for that, right? Because investors, they think investors will not invest if there is no AI component, right? So So I had said this before that people are first looking at AI and then looking at the problem. It should be the other way around, where they should look at the problem and then see where AI can be fit in.